I think it's quite safe to say that I've done quite a bit of Pokemon content lately, all of which being in PokeMMO, which has proved to be insanely difficult. Which is why I'm returning to good old vanilla Pokemon. Well, that's actually not true, because it's randomized. That's right, this is gonna be a Pokemon Fire Red randomized Nuzlocke. So, I named myself Royal, and named my rival after my friend Nevtron14. Once I try and step outside of the house, the professor comes running, because we don't have our own Pokemon yet. Once we arrive in the lab, I finally get a good look at what our options are for a starter. Oh, a Linu, not really a big fan, gotta be honest. I need her in female, don't really want to have to deal with having a baby mon. Alright, I guess I'm going with Linoon. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with having a fully evolved normal type at the beginning of any Pokemon game. I honestly have no idea why I named it Loop, I guess it just made sense to me at the time. Looking at these base stats, who do we really think is gonna win? Turns out Loop has the ability Soundproof, which is better than a lot of other options. As long as he doesn't have Traunt, I'm happy. Guess that's the end of that. Maybe Linoon isn't such a bad starter after all. On my way to the next town, we ran into this funny fellow, who despite being a legendary, ultimately stands no chance in the face of a Loop. Once I got to the next town, I headed straight for the Pokemart, so I can complete the Oaks Fetch quest. Once I got back to the lab, I received our first Pokeballs and our Pokedex. Now that the run had officially started, it was time for us to get our first encounter. Oh, a Tauros, not bad. Yeah, he's dead. You know, it's fine, I didn't want two normal types anyway. After the absolute failure that was our first encounter, I was eager to get our next one.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Encountering this Heracross made me really happy. It's probably within my top 20 favorite Pokemon. I just have to be really careful, because one flying type and this thing is dead. I spent about probably 5 minutes trying to come up with the name for this thing, and in the end I accidentally hit enter right as I was about to type something out. On the next route, I caught a Lantern that my mom named Joker.
Son's been hit by a drunk driver. He's dead.
Honestly, this is another really solid member. It has a lot of HP and a lot of status moves. After some light grinding, I decided it was time to take on the second rival fight. I was a little bit nervous, because he could have literally anything. I knew he would keep his Nidoran, but he could have any legendary for his second Pokemon. Oh my god, it's Crazy Sam! Thankfully, Crazy Sam was feeling merciful today and spared our lives. Crazy Sam went down to a headbutt, but I know he could win if he really wanted to. Who knows, maybe this thing got a little bit stronger this time. Hey, at least he actually got a Boobin this time. After turning Nevtron's Pokemon into a fine red paste on the side of the road, we headed into Viridian Forest, where I encountered this Mankey. I already have a fighting type, but at the very least it can be Death Fodder. I named him Pig! Do you get it? Most of the trainers didn't have anything crazy, except for this one kid who threw out a Moltres out of nowhere. But considering the fact that I have a water type, there's no way he's winning this match of elemental rock, paper, scissors. The rest of his team didn't really compare to his first one, not gonna lie. Once I got to Pewter City, I found a King's Rock as a hidden item, which even further increases the chance that Loop's headbutt causes the opponent to flinch. With nothing else better to do, I headed to the Pewter City Gym, where I faced off against Brock. With no exaggeration, this was probably the easiest gym battle I've ever had, randomized or not. His first Pokemon, a Barboach, went down to a couple horn attacks. Next, he sent out a Krabby, and as I'm recording this, I realized this guy was just straight up a water type gym leader. He didn't have a single rock type. Mr. President, watch out! And just like that, we have our first gym badge. After beating Brock, I headed out to the next route, where I started nonchalantly destroying all of the trainers on the route, until we got to this trainer with his Marowak. Despite Marowak being a ground type, I still sent out Joker, assuming everything would be fine. At this point in the game, most Pokemon were so low level they only had normal type moves, but I was proven wrong. When this Marowak used Bone Club, I knew it was over. This run's first death was a really unfortunate one. The Joker would have been really helpful throughout the rest of this run. The Marowak was quickly and painfully executed. After lying the Joker to rest, I tore through the rest of the trainers on that route without too much issue. When I finally got my encounter on the route, it was a Sharpedo, a perfect replacement for the late Joker. Me named Shark Bruce cause Finding Nemo. After a handful more trainers, I headed into Mount Moon, where I encountered this Huntail, which in this generation is almost entirely useless. I named him after a sandwich-slinging kid diddler because I don't like him. On one of my trips to the Pokemon Center outside of Mount Moon, I bought myself a Magikarp. What do you mean that's not a Magikarp? It says it right there. Nice try, Marowak. I'm not weak to that this time. You just made me racist. Once is a coincidence. Twice is a trend. And if this trend continues, I'm gonna hate Marowak forever. Let's just really savor this for a moment. That was nice, but I don't feel any better. Once I got to the next town, I put Pig in the death box and headed out to Nugget Bridge. But before that, I went to get in my encounter. But unfortunately, from previous experience, I knew one of Nemo's abilities was Traunt. And this one just happens to have it. He's dead to me. But before I could go do Nugget Bridge, it was time for the third rival battle against Nevtron. And this time, he was packing heat. And no, I'm not talking about this Ralts. I'm talking about this. This was actually about the fourth Moltres I've seen, so it wasn't that out of the ordinary for me, but it went down to a couple headbutts nonetheless. Next up was his starter, which is now evolved into a Nidorina. Unfortunately, I kept in Bruce against it, and it has the move Double Kick, which absolutely destroyed him due to the fact that he's half Dark type. Much like a goldfish kept in a 1-gallon bowl by a 5-year-old, none of my water types have seemed to last very long. Jared, you're next. After that, I managed to take down Nidorina with B. After Nidorina, he sent out Ho-Oh. He has 2 fire legendary birds. Things don't look good for me. Jared's got this. Turns out in Gen 3, at this level, Ho-Oh only has 2 moves, one of which being Whirlwind, which means Jared gets to live for another day. After a couple of flinches, Ho-Oh goes down without too much issue. Hopefully next time, Nevtron 14's Pokemon will actually have moves. On Nugget Bridge, Jared dies to a tackle from a Flareon. This is officially the best day of my life. The Water-type Curse is going strong. The rest of the teams on Nugget Bridge consisted mostly of fodder, until I got to this kid, who had a Registeel. And at this level, he had Explosion, Curse, and Metal Claw, all moves that could have ended in a really bad time for me. But I was blissfully unaware, because I hit him with multiple flinches in a row. In the end, he only managed to use Cursed once, and only got Loop and Magikarp low, but he went down to wrap damage. My encounter for the route was a Cascoon, and as you would expect for a Pokemon with only one move, he was Cheeks. Then, on the next route, I caught Kecleon, who must have been really good friends with Jared, and definitely won't kill himself. After a handful of trainer battles, we managed to free Bill from his Fursona, getting us a ticket to the SSN. After a quick run-in with a home intruder, we headed down to the next route. Ooh, yay, a Venomoth, my favorite. Said no one ever! Well, ran out of Pokeballs, guess he wanted to die. After another failure in acquiring a new friend, I headed to Misty's gym, where I ran into this random swimmer, who secretly has a living time machine, Celebi. Yay, headbutt! With the gym trainers out of the way, it was Misty time. She led with the Snorlax, which was kind of scary, but despite its best efforts, it went down to a couple of horn attacks. Surprisingly, next, she sent out an Azumarill, an actual water type. But unfortunately for her, B solos. That's our second gym badge in the bag. On my way to the next city, I left Epstein at the daycare. I said bye-bye Epstein, and that's probably the last thing the real one heard. After that, I walked through the really long and really annoying and really obnoxious endless tunnel. After about 30 seconds of walking downwards, we headed out to the next route. My encounter for this route was Regice, which was really exciting, my first legendary, but unfortunately it has the move Explosion. This is not going to go well. Not to mention it has the ability Sandstream, which is not good in any way. I got him to red health, maybe I'll be able to catch him. Oh, nope, there he goes. Okay. After some trainer battles and a lot of disappointment, we finally made it to the next town, where I actually managed to get the Old Rod, which would allow me to get several new encounters. A Dragonair. This is actually amazing. Despite it being level 5, this is an amazing encounter. Oh yeah, I know your name, but I'm not that confident. My next encounter was Felix the Helix. Then I managed to get a Teddy Ursa named Clarence in Diglett Cave. After running back and forward a bunch between towns, I finally managed to get a bike. After that detour, it was time to take on the SS Anne. Unfortunately, I had discovered the speed up feature, and Felix got sent back to the Stone Age by a Moltres. After taking out all the trainers on this route, it was time to take on Nevtron 14 once more. And this time, he was out for blood. His first Pokemon was a Surskit, and as you would expect, it got absolutely obliterated. What happens next is once again another showing of my ignorance to the fact that Nidorina has the move Double Kick. Clarence gets destroyed. At this point, I'm not feeling very good about the composition of my team, but I have 3 overleveled Pokemon in a dream. Once more, Loop has to come clean up the Nidorina. Next up was a Whismur, which understandably gets obliterated. His last Pokemon was a Ninetales, and I spammed Bite, but for some reason my Magikarp hasn't evolved into a Gyarados yet. That's one more easy dub against Nevtron. I got cut from the questionable captain after giving him a back rub, and headed to take out Lieutenant Surge's gym. But first, I took a pit stop at Pallet Town to get another encounter using the Old Rod. Amazing! A Quagsire! Hopefully the Water-type curse ends with Felix. Yep, that's right. Earlier when I said amazing, that's its name. After some light grinding and an embarrassing amount of time spent on the trash can puzzle, I finally managed to challenge Surge to a Pokemon battle. He started with the Rhyhorn, and our new recruit Amazing managed to live up to her name by one-shotting it with a 4 times effective water gun. Next up was a Shuckle with the ability Intimidate. But fortunately, B had learned the move Brick Break, meaning it stood no chance. It goes down without too much issue. Next up was a Swinub, which as expected goes down with 1 Brick Break. And just like that, we've taken down Surge and acquired our 3rd gym badge. And this is the end of the first part of the Pokemon Fire Red Randomizer Nuzlocke. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.